I can't lie, this just looks dope. What's up, fellas? So, it's finally here. My long-awaited, well, DJI Action 6. It's finally here. I'm going to unbox this, and then we're gonna see what's up. So, yeah, literally just got this off the mail, and we're gonna see. But well, this is the Action 6. Let me unbox it. There it is, the Action 6. Holy shit, this is definitely something. Usually I don't jump, first sight when a camera is released, but here I am doing that. Wow. I'm just going to unbox this for you guys in the first segment in the video, and yeah. Probably the first time I've done something like an unboxing, but usually it took me like a couple months or so. I want to try to do this as quickly as possible, try to ruin unboxing anything. There you go. So do this, do that, do this, and then just the camera itself. Okay, English. Set up the dates real quick. All right, look, I'm gonna need, if I'm not mistaken, I need to like get to DJI Mimo and stuff like that, right? I mean, I did that with the Action 5.
A few moments later.
Alrighty, so sort of fumbling around with the DJI Mimo app. Sort of hate that from DJI, that you do need to register all your device. Not a big fan. That said, though, should have probably said this in the beginning of the video, that the objective of this whole thing is for me to review the Action 6, but through the lens of a drone pilot. So, most reviews online I see, are from the perspective of vloggers, filmmakers, content creators. Nothing wrong with that, but I figured as a drone pilot, I sort of want to put a bit of a spin to the review. So let's get that out of the way. My first impression with the Action 6. Opening it from the box, this looks like it belonged in a film set. The whole mute color scheme and just being gray and a bit of monotone, with it only being gray and stuff like that. I dig the whole thing. I mean, the Action 5 has a bit of a red accent to it. Sporty, but I prefer this one. Let's just say that. Let's see. So I guess in terms of physical attribute, there is that. In terms of the camera's changes itself, other than the paint scheme or the color scheme, is the camera now is a bit more taller and is a bit more wider in terms of the width of the camera. It is a bit more thinner though, right there. So there's that. They also changed the mechanism of the door. So with the Action 5, if I can get it to focus, there you go. You just need to pull it down. This one, you need to push it that way and down. I prefer the Action 5, to be honest. It's a bit more simple. This one, it's a bit of a habit change. Let's just say that. Both doors right now does that, so there is that part. That's for the physical attribute, yeah. A bit of the software attribute is that the Action 5 now, or the Action 6, sorry, has a bit of a different interface. So I guess they're just accommodating for the bigger screen that it has now compared to the Action 5. My friend is wearing the Action 5, so I can, compare it head to head right there. In terms of software or like, you know, the settings and interface, there is a bit of a change. Again, I think it's just to accommodate the big screen. You know, it is a bit more easier. It is a bit more informative. You know, all of this stuff is just a bit more viewable right now. Unless you could say that. All right, I guess the most interesting part of the camera. Well, there's two. Number one is the variable aperture, and number two is the 1/1.1 inch sensor. So this has the same sensor as the DJI 360 or the 360 cam that the DJI released. Haven't used it, but with the bigger sensor, I expect that number one, dynamic range would be a boost. Number two, low light. It should improve a lot. Again, haven't tried anything. We're going to compare that later on, but I expect that from the 1/1 point inch sensor that the Action 6 have. Again, the reason why it's such a big deal for me is the fact that now it shoots open gate. That means you don't have to necessarily choose between putting the camera this way or that way. And that's why the Action 6 doesn't came with the cage. The Action 5, it does came with the cage. That's for that. It's for shooting it in horizontal and in vertical. This one shoots open gate. You don't need that. I like that already. Again, we're gonna field test this and we're gonna find out what is it about the camera that is so amazing, and we'll determine whether the camera is an upgrade or is it not. Did I just waste my money, or is this the right decision, and is this a worthy Christmas present for all of you guys and for me? So yeah, we'll get to the field.
Alrighty, so we have arrived in my testing place, which is just my, the balcony and the swimming pool in my apartment. There's like a flight bay right there that we could use. But yeah, we have set up right here with the drones and everything. Not gonna lie, this thing just looks dope with the whole mute color scheme and stuff like that. Just looks super professional. The Action 5, with the red accent, it doesn't look bad, but I prefer this sort of thing. Alrighty, so let's get into the objective comparison. I'm going to try to use the same setting for both cameras, which means, so both are going to be shooting in 4K, 25 frames. The only difference is this guy's going to be using a 4:3 aspect ratio. This guy's going to be using the 1:1 because I feel like that's just this guy's strength. And, for me to use full sensor on this guy, it's going to be using the 4:3 aspect ratio, right? We're going to be using D-Log M for both camera, wide and non-stabilized, because I'm going to be stabilizing it at gyro flow later on, because that's just how I would run it in real life, right? One thing to mention though is that for the Action 5, I'm not going to be using its 3D printed mounting cage because I don't have it for the Action 6. We need to be objective as possible, right? So we're going to be using the mounting that it came with to mount the camera to the drone. Also, no NDs for both. The exposure, I've set it on auto, obviously. Oh, and this guy, for the f-stop or the aperture, I set it to fix 2.8 because, I feel like that's just way more equal than, for both camera. And for the fly path itself, I'm going to try to fly a similar path as possible because I feel like then you guys would be able to judge it objectively, So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna be flying soon. I just want to tell you guys that I did try to fly them around the same time and the same lighting conditions to keep them fair and square, but I did fly the Action 5 first before the Action 6 here. Now, we can see that the Action 6 at our right screen has a bit more lighter green compared to the Action 5 with its darker green. When we did put the LUTs in right now, we could see that the Action 6 actually preserved its detail better with the leaf. When we do turn in the sky, you can see that the Action 6 right there is just a bit more better in terms of keeping its detail in the sky. The sunset with the Action 6 is a bit more preserved, a bit more detail compared to the Action 5. A disclaimer, this LUT is actually made for the Action 5 first before the Action 6. The fact that it's doing this to its footage means that the Action 6 just has a bit more dynamic range. It's totally noticeable, even though I would say that it's not that big change, but it is noticeable at the footage right here.
Hey yo, what's up guys? So we're at this cool location right here. I got into the back right there, and we're gonna test the low light footage of the Action 6. Now, I choose this place because I've been here before and I've flown here comfortably, and I'm doing this alone, right? And so, for me, the place needs to be a place where I could, be comfortable doing shit alone. And this place is safe enough, and it's epic too. So, as you can see behind me right there, we're gonna go fly from like right there in the deck right there, and that will be our view. So, like you can see all the city lights, and it will be perfect to test how capable is the Action 6 at doing low lights. So without further ado, I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna set up, and we're gonna fly and test the low light. So yeah, alrighty. So we've set up here, got everything readied up, all the drones, all the equipment here, got the props readied up, make sure to not screw up anything. This place right here, a lot of people usually went here. We are now on a Monday, so not so much. I mean, there's still people, but not a lot. We're going to be testing the 05 versus the 06, their low light capability. I think out of all the strengths that the Action 6 have, the Osmo Action 6 is supposed to be very strong with the low lights. It's supposed to at least clearly beat it, clearly beat the 05 or the Action 5 in terms of its low light capability. But, we'll see, right? So I'm just going to make sure that all the settings of the Action 5 and the Action 6 are the same to make sure that we're on equal settings. And after that, we're going to fly. So, So we're about to take off here with the Action 5 first. It's very important that you get satellite. So right now I'm just waiting for that satellite to sort of appear. But we're already geared up and everything. We're just going to wait for the satellite to hit. And after that, we're going to go.
Alrighty, so the Action 6 right here and the Action 5 both are shooting in 4K, f2.8, D-Log-M, 10-bit, all gyro float. We're not looking at the stability of the camera. That's none of our business right now. I mean, I usually gyro float them anyway. Now, both cameras are doing great right here with the low lights. However, we can see that the Action 6 is less noisy and it preserves its detail better once again. Now, once the LUT finally kicks in, we can see that the building is way more lit with the Action 6. It's less noisy. You can see the detail better with the Action 6. Now, once we do dive, we can see that the Action 6 right there, it preserves its detail better. We can see that the neon sign is well lit right there. So, I can conclude that because of its bigger sensor, it could capture more light. Thus, the Action 6, in terms of low light capabilities, it is a total upgrade. Now, in a bit, I'll show you a setting which will make the low light pop out more. Alrighty, so here is the best setting for low light in terms of the Action 6. This right here is by far the best setting I found in terms of getting the best low light footage out of the Action 6. Now we can see that the detail, the noise, it's just a step up. Now here's once the LUT is put in, we can see that everything is well lit, the details there, and there's significantly less noise compared to the Action 5. You can compare it back with the Action 5 here. the building, the colors and everything, it's way more nicer here. We could just see the details in the building, and then the night sky here is not noisy. It's actually very good. In my opinion, this right here is the best setting if you want to get the best low light footage out of the Action 6. Right now, the Action 6 is by far one of the best low light action camera out there. The fact that it can do the f2, I think, is what made its low light capability so great. Now, I am out of word to describe how great the Action 6 is. In my opinion, it's just damn good. It's a beast of the camera, and its low light performance, I don't think you can quench it in.
Alrighty, so back at my place. Now, let's talk about what we've found, right? So we've tested the Action 6 and the Action 5 in a high dynamic range situation, or you know, in a very dynamic situation, which is the sunset that I've shown you in the beginning, or you know, in the more beginning part of the vlog, and the low light night footage that I've shown you. And from that footage, we could see that the Action 6 is a clear upgrade. I think there is a noticeable difference between the Action 5 and the Action 6, especially in the low lights. There's no question that the Action 6 right now is probably one of the best action camera when it came to shooting low light. I'm a professional drone pilot, and D-log, or you know, shooting in a log profile, is very important. I haven't really tested, let's say, the Insta360 even though I've seen the footage, but I haven't tested it for myself, so I can't really say for that. But if you're gonna compare the night mode versus the Insta360 pure video, I don't think I'm gonna use that anyway, because for client work, I don't really see them using night mode. Most of the time, they're gonna want to use a log profile, which is a D-log N, and thus, from that point of view, the Action 6 hands down is the best, right? So there is that. I think one of the biggest elephant in the room when we're talking about the Action 6 is its price. It is a bit more pricey. You know, when I first expected the price for the Action 6, I thought it's going to be along the same line with the Action 5. Obviously, I was wrong, right? The Action 6 is noticeably way more expensive than the Action 5. That said, though, the difference or the upgrade you do get is noticeable too, you know, as we can see from the videos that we've tried, right? That said, the Action 5 is not outdated. It's still a fairly new camera, and I think the Action 5 still holds its own comparing to the Action 6. If you're in a budget and you're looking for a camera that is great, you know, with low lights and stuff like that, has a very excellent dynamic range with an excellent price, I think the Action 5 still is a good option, right? However, for me, as a professional drone pilot, I want the best of the best, because I'm gonna be using it for client shoot, and you know, this is going to be for someone else to use, and for that reason alone, the Action 6 for me is a worth it upgrade. Again, everybody's different. If you're just the type of person who likes to shoot for social media, maybe, or YouTube, then the Action 5 is an excellent choice, right? So, in terms of comparing the Action 5 and the Action 6, I think there is that. For me, myself, the most significant upgrade of the Action 6 compared to the Action 5 is the ability to shoot open gate 1x1. That feature alone is enough to make me justify the price I need to pay to get the Action 6. As a professional drone pilot, sometimes your client, they want to shoot vertical, sometimes they want to shoot horizontal. But there is some scenario where the moments, they can't happen twice, right? So you end up confused, and the client ends up confused between which shot they want. You either need to compromise by cropping in with the Action 5 4:3 resolution, you know, end up, you know, loss of resolution, or you end up, you know, let's say you shoot in vertical, and then you sort of screw your horizontal, and vice versa. That ability for me to just crop without losing that resolution is awesome, right? So on top of the upgrade performance, that feature alone is enough to justify the price for me, and that's why I'm buying it. But again, you're different and everybody's different, right? This is a definite upgrade, especially if you're playing in the professional field. Again, if you're a social media person, you're not necessarily using it for any commercial shoots or any professional shoots, then the Action 6 might not be necessary for you. The upgrade is noticeable, but it's not a huge leap. If you haven't and this is a different scenario between the Action 5 and the Action 4. When the Action 5 and Action 4 came out, the prices are reasonable, for me to justify, okay, if you haven't bought the Action 5 or, you haven't got any action camera, then maybe buy the Action 5 instead of buying the Action 4. However, with this new scenario where the price is significantly more expensive, I would recommend you to just get the Action 5 unless you're shooting professionally. So that's my opinion and that's my review. Anyway, if you like the video, really consider hitting the subscribe button. Would help me a lot and would be greatly appreciated. If you watched this far, I would like to thank you. Thanks for watching the video through, and I'm gonna just close the video right here. So yeah.